Make for yourself an image, use your imagination to really be sensitive to this actual whole planet underneath you, this vast earth that you are seated upon. So that you have an appreciation for that small but significant amount of gravity that's holding you down to it. So get the feel of that gravity. Get to feel that earth. And get the feel also of how you can, some parts of you, some element of you can lift up away from that. And if you set it up well, you can actually feel buoyant, uplifted. So look for that relationship. Make use of it. Join your palms together. And draw your attention to that interior space. Let your attention rest there. Let your senses rest there, particularly the sense of hearing. So you can hear that internal sound, particularly of the exhalation. Focus on that sound as it is felt inside that space. Heard, felt. In this way, pay homage to the practice of yoga and to that root teacher, Patanjali. Bow to this practice. Release your hands. Raise your head up and open your eyes. So, first pose, you need a bolster perhaps, and a blanket, and a strap. So here's a bolster. Blanket, if you use it, would be as a head support, and a strap will be useful to hold your foot. This is Supta Padangusthasana, going laterally. So I'm facing away from you, so you have, I hope, a clear view of the whole pose. First, you're going to be quite symmetrical, lying on the floor, not going to sleep, but just becoming, as it were, super aware of earth. Then we'll spend a few minutes like that. Then the right leg comes up. The bolster comes in close as necessary to your hip. And after, again, a few moments, the leg will go to the side. If the support is correct, the groin will be comfortable and the leg will happily rest. Those with the flexibility to catch the big toe, go right ahead. Okay? But first, you lie supine in pretty close to Shavasana, except there's no intent to sleep. So 2 feet, 2 legs on the floor. Everybody, no strap, lie flat. Tuck your shoulder blades. Let your palms turn up. This is very Shavasana. Like Shavasana is, in fact, in part of its essence, is an offering of this body to the earth. So arrange yourself so as much of you can physically rest upon this ground, this earth, as possible. Let your skull rest, spine, hips, shoulders, arms, legs. It's a meditation on the ground. So the process involves first understanding what the ground is. Sort of, most of us know in our intelligence what the ground is. Most of us have a highly practical experience of the ground. But this is different from the knowing that the yogis speak of, this very deep perception, comprehension. So first, understanding the nature of earth involves distinguishing it from everything else that isn't earth. Most notably, most obviously, it's different from air. So your body can be simultaneously aware of earth and air. It's almost easier to feel that buoyancy aspect here than it is sitting up. Now, bend your elbows, bend your knees, roll to the side, and you're going to turn over and come on to, I beg your pardon, we're up for Supta Padankushtasana. Well, I changed my plan. So bend up that right knee, make sure your bolster is nearby. Take your right leg to vertical and hold it there for a minute so you understand. Stretch your left leg out. Your knowledge of your experience of the earth and your leg, keep the leg vertical. Your experience of this leg, the gravity through the actions of your leg is increasing. Take the leg to the side. At least perpendicular to your spine, so don't let that foot drift towards your other foot. Give as much support as you need. You can even use a wall to rest your foot on if the bolster is not high enough. That for many of us, there are parts of the body that can't surrender to the ground anymore. So they have a different relationship with the earth. My point in getting you to notice things is to keep paying attention to the ground and how you interact with it. Take the leg up and bend the knee, unhook the strap, come on, out. And move your props or turn around, however you will, change sides. Now, again, make sure you've got sufficient support that you can come to rest with that thigh. Okay, so starting from two straight legs, you bend the left knee and take the leg to vertical. And you feel the weight of that leg helping ground the left hip. And as you stretch the leg, you can feel that anti-gravity part balanced with the gravity part. And when you take the leg to the side, drawing that thigh to the hip toward the ground helps. Stretch the leg out, tuck the thigh back, keep the right leg straight, perpendicular to the trunk, to the sticky mat. Or you catch your big toe with your hand, it'll go toward the shoulder. In this pose, remember how I said well, I will say it now, act as if you perceive underneath you the expansiveness of the earth instead of just your points of contact. Feel the vastness beneath you. Now, come up. Take the leg to vertical, bend your knee, release that strap. And be there for a moment, then you bend your knees, roll to the side, and just roll over, getting ready for Adho Mukha Svanasana. Don't go up yet. You're just now exploring gravity differently instead of having so much of your body on the floor now. There's just a couple of places. Okay, also, your trunk is presently going parallel to the floor, but separate from it, right? There's all this air, in fact, in between your trunk and the floor. Now, gravity is still operating and the ground is still, you might say, you still have a relationship between your spine and the earth, even though there's this, because gravity. Now, spread that spine parallel to the ground. Keep your arms supporting you. Okay. Turn your toes under. Now, when you take Adho Mukha Svanasana, the hips are going up away from gravity. Your hands and feet are going toward it. And they are going toward not just the points beneath your palms, but they're going toward the entire vastness. So you feel the ground directly beneath your hips, not just underneath your feet. And you feel yourself lifting up away from it. Pratima, if you will do that, do keep those hips level. Raise that, the leg that's lifted, that hip must lift too. It is dropped. The shoulder is dropped, the waist is dropped. Raise up level on the left side to the right side. Touch your toe to the wall and stretch your leg to lift it. That's better. Still needs to lift more. Yes, that. Much better, Pratima. Change sides then. The rest of you feel free to come to Ardha Uttanasana. Did you do both sides, Pratima? Oh. Okay. So when you come to that Ardha Uttanasana, here you may need bricks because the idea is to spread your spine parallel to that ground. Instead of feeling short on the front, or so you need to take enough height. It could even be a chair so that you can open that spine. If there's more flexibility, you can go lower. If the hamstring permits the pelvis to turn, okay, come up then, please. Now, if this is inappropriate for you to do, it would be, if you can do it, it would be a handstand, a full arm balance, Adho Mukha Vrikshasana. Those who can do should do. That's the pose. Now, if that is difficult, your next line of practice, sort of backing away from full arm balance, is what we might call a wall dog. You see how I'm measuring it, one Adho Mukha Virasana distance from the wall. Then I come up and I put my foot up the wall at a place where my knees stay together. Don't raise the knee. Don't make the knees uneven. If you keep the knees together, your foot will land correctly and you invert like so. So you get some strength. Okay, does that give everybody an opportunity? Now, Chaya and anybody else who may or may not have hips lower, feet lower, Gay and Cliff, feet down, hips up, feet down, Cliff, hips up, feet walk down the wall. Walk down the wall, hips up, feet down. Hip height. Come out. Watch, come out. Now, a lot of us, and I was watching, I will show one thing I saw. Yeah. So what I saw was people starting out straight, but when they're up in the air, do you see how the arms are not straight? Okay, so that's one thing I saw. Okay, park that. Second thing is, look again. These feet do not go up the wall. Keep your knees together. That sounds a little moralistic there, but it's not what I mean. I mean, just it keeps your foot at hip height. Then you push up. You see, feet don't walk up the wall. Stay, and your butt goes up. Okay. Those whose elbows bend, put a strap on your arms, just below the elbow, shoulder width. This gives you a more direct and easy connection to the earth. It gives you better grounding, which is going to result, I hope, in a better sense of buoyancy. When that foot goes up the wall, keep your knees level with each other and then step up without moving that foot. Don't go up any higher, Cliff. That's too high. Hips up, Cliff. Armpits open. Cliff might need to get closer to the wall, I'm not sure. Okay. Please come out. And rest. Cliff is going to try it again. That's better, Cliff. Keep your feet right there, knees bent. And push your buttocks up to the, don't move the hands. Push your buttocks up with the knees bent. Okay. Next one. You might need some support. We're going to do, let's do a balance pose that we're familiar with actually from recent weeks here. I'll shift the camera so you can see my face. So preferably you'll be standing up, but a short distance from the wall behind you, a short distance so that you can make use of the wall, like with your elbows for balance, or you could be freestanding. Okay. Now, we're going to do a one-footed balance pose, which is going to require you to have a sense of the ground. Might as well have a strap. Some of you, stiffen the hips, people. So this is Vrikshasana. Place your foot against the inner thigh. Where the strap comes in handy is if you can't quite catch that foot because the hip or knee aren't flexible, the foot won't stay put. You put a strap around so you can hold on to it. Balance. Press the foot against the inner thigh. Press the thigh back against the foot. If your balance is not stable, catch something, one thing. And if you can feel that extra piece of contact connects you to the ground and gives stability. When the hands come free, the mind has to be able to maintain its sense of the ground. Now, one arm or two, the arms come overhead. Without losing your sense of the ground. Now, meant in the mind, the process, stretch your elbows there. Even if I don't see them, stretch your elbows. The process involves establishing your contact with the ground, perception of ground, perception of difference, maintaining, learning to maintain your awareness of the ground in relation to whatever else you're doing. So it's kind of a moving target, this ground. Or actually, it's not a moving target, but you're moving. Come out. Carefully, one thing at a time. Stand on 2 feet for a second. So that that lifted leg, the right leg, gets back to the ground. So the yogic process begins just first with these direct perceptions and trying to get the, the feel, the sense of the ground. At which point you take your second side. That learning process involves learning what is not the ground, learning about the air, or the lightness. There are other elements too, but let's just divide it into what is heavy and goes down and what doesn't. Let's just divide that way, because that's how it starts anyhow, very directly. And as you learn to focus, the attention shifts gradually, less and less. And the posture shifts less and less. As your consciousness gets a clearer and steadier picture of and feel, and all the senses get to understand earth. Take your arms up if they aren't up yet. So they say the process of concentration is like the attention maintains its shifting from one part to another, like it shifts from down to up, down, and clarifies and keeps bringing you into more and more focus. This is like a concentration practice where the attention returns to this clarity about the ground, very persistently returning, shifts away, gathers more information, comes back. The meditation process is where the focus is completely gathered and it's steady. So one of the famous analogies is that concentration is like drops of water falling steadily on a single target. Meditation is more like oil flowing. Come out. Stand in Tadasana. So let's try one more balance pose. I hope this will be okay, Pratima. It's a similar, not folding or extending of the ankle. Well, I take it back for you. You will just come into Ardha Chandrasana the best you can for your ankle. Everybody else, you're going to try to do it like a balance pose, being near support so you can regain steadiness easily without having to really fight hard. And in a place where you can be independent of a wall, near it in case, but independent in case. And you would begin in Trikonasana, and then you come forward, and this is where the attention has to be very clear. The earth is not a moving target. You are, right? Keep your sense of the earth always in the same place. Move toward it, lift away from it. Stretch your spine along it. This lower hand has to be far enough away from your foot to let your spine lengthen. This part of you, the abdomen, the navel, has a relationship to gravity, to the earth. Good, I'm watching. If Vidya, if you move your standing foot forward, so that when you come into that pose, your back toe touches the wall. Yes, if you need to come out, please do. Chaya, if you could raise the lifted leg, groin. Yeah, foot too, but groin. That's much better right there. Much better. And Vidya, raise your foot 2 inches, 3 inches. Right? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Such as you, the earth moved. Okay, please come out carefully. Carefully means maintain that awareness of earth. Stand straight for just a bit. So there's no disturbance there. And then side 2. Be close to the wall. Be able to free balance if you like. Longer stance, Chaya. More length, yes. Trikonasana. And then bend the knee, shift the weight forward. This is the difficult part. Push off that back foot. So the weight, and pull, stand on the front leg. Make sure that brick is far enough forward that you can open your trunk. The top arm has the capacity to be a very powerful, helpful expander. It also can be a distraction. It can knock you off vertical. Now make sure that that standing leg is rolled back away from the ribs, buttock away, back ribs long, so you can spread that waist. And come out as best you can, as carefully as you can. And stand up and take yourself back to Trikonasana, just standing. Okay. All right. Let's do this one. Here's a chair. It's the end of the year. We hardly ever do this pose, so I'm doing it. Happy New Year, everybody. So instead of a blanket, I'm going to put something sticky over the back of my chair. Now, look at this for a second. I'll pull the chair in close. Here is my shirt sleeve. I'm pulling my shirt sleeve halfway up my forearm. See it? So my shirt sleeve colors half my forearm. So it's optically clear that I'm putting that halfway point on the chair back, so that if I were to push my wrist down, do you see it? The arm and the shoulder level up, lever up. If I bend my elbow, I can drop way down. But if I lever that forearm down, it's lifting right up at the shoulder socket. Okay, that's important. So there I am, hands about shoulder width, and I stretch out in with my feet together in half Uttanasana. And the legs here need to be pretty close to vertical. They should not be behind vertical. your chair might do what mine is doing, which is slipping forward. So stay vertical and keep the wrist going down. Then your right leg comes up. And you stretch along this ground, spread out. Your back toe could touch the wall if you like, but it should be able to be free. Now project your arms and the chair forward, stretch your trunk, and stretch your leg back. Feet joined, raise the right leg. Feet together, stretch your arms forward, raise the right leg, and push it back far. So go away from the wall, Vidya. Get longer, go away from the wall. Step, push the chair. Now reach back. Lever the wrist down so that shoulders stay stable. Lift your waist, Emmy. Lift your front spine and stretch back in the navel. Stretch that leg, Vidya. Put your toes to the wall. The wall is very close if you reach for it. Stretch your leg. Come out. Take a moment. Now I see, Pratima, your hands are close together, and if your shoulders accept the hands close, that's fine. Otherwise, you keep the arms running parallel, sort of toward the outer edge of that chair. Side two, that's better, Vidya. Better spacing. And remember, your chair slides a bit on the floor, so you've got a little freedom to adjust inside the pose. Way out there, Pratima, that's right. Longer and longer and longer. Longer. That is the word. Longer ribs, longer spine. Raise the leg, Emmy. Hips level. Push through the heel, Vidya, so you can stretch that leg. Try to put your right heel on the wall. Touch your toes up the wall, way up, and then push the heel to the wall. Lower the foot, Emmy. Raise the navel slightly. And come out. So, Vidya, I'm going to show you an alternate that's going to help those legs stretch. Do you by chance have two chairs? One chair. One chair. If you don't have two chairs, you keep one chair and you add two bricks. So here's the idea. Put your ankle over that back seat of the chair and stretch your legs. See how my hands are supported on the chair seat, and I'm almost horizontal, a little bit different. So you could come two bricks maybe. So you don't get this full extension of the trunk, but you do get to stretch your legs properly. You will actually feel very happy about the pose working that way. Now make sure those bricks are stable. Foam bricks aren't always, but the big ones are. Okay. So make sure the chair is stable. If it feels tippy to you, just pile blankets or a bolster on the chair seat, and it will make it heavier and more stable. So that foot, Pratima, you should turn around and put your foot on the chair. What I mean, Pratima, is for you to turn the way you see me turn your chair and put your foot on the chair and your hands on bricks if you don't have a second chair. So your foot rests, ankle rests on that chair back, and you straighten that leg. Straighten it. Straight, yes, that's the ticket. Now, Vidya, your standing leg is not vertical. I know you're tight. Yep, you gotta back up. So that standing, not the foot. Oh, no, the foot has to come toward your bricks or your hands back up toward your foot. There you go. That's almost vertical. I'll accept it today. Change sides, everybody. Now, this side, did you walk your feet forward, one floorboard? There you go. Now, oh, don't sneak back. Come forward and take side two. Back up those hips. Yes, so you really feel the weight firmly going through the heel into the floor. And with hands on bricks, stretch that trunk forward. Stretch the leg back. Soften the abdomen. Keep the navel long. The navel region and behind it, that lumbar spine, both surfaces long, long. And come out. Okay. Then be at rest for a bit. Here is a chair with the chair seat close to the, facing the wall. It's not that close. And I'm going to shift the camera slightly for a better view. Take the cat toys out of the picture. Okay, so look, this is a setup for several possibilities. Depends on you. If I put two bricks on the ground here at the wall, I make it possible to do more backbend shapes. Okay. Keeping the chair in the right place makes backbend shapes possible. Putting a bolster on the floor off the end of that chair also makes shapes possible. So watch. This one is for height underneath my feet. Okay, just raises my feet. And it's a broad thing, so it's not like bricks that are precarious, broad. I sit through the chair in the kind of typical way we always do. Put your sacrum tailbone at one end and your shoulder blades on the other side. I take the support. My head takes support of my arms so that I can, right here, relax toward that ground. even though I'm up on a chair, my body is connected to the ground. And through the ground, I get a sense of what is heavy and also what is light. And I begin to open up in a back bend, letting my spine sort of respond to gravity, right? So it's lovely for me to do. I think you should begin your own. I mean, if I talked my way through what I wish for you to do, it would take too long. So what I'm saying is start quite carefully, supporting your head, feet on the floor, and you got something in front of your feet, something in front of your hands, and a wall nearby in reach. So hips go well through, Vidya. The buttocks go through. The chair has a back on it still that makes things a little more difficult. So wiggle through as best you can. Try to get the pubis on the far side, but if it doesn't work, it does. Tuck your shoulder blades, support your head, interlock your fingers behind your head, tuck your shoulder blades, and hopefully you are comfortable and can relax into a curve, an arc. And as that chest wall opens, the arms may come down. They may reach for the wall. Some of you, they may thread in between the front chair legs and take a different shape back bend. Now, as time passes and the hips and the navel and lumbar regions settle and spread out, maybe the legs can straighten without disturbance, and you'd rest your heels on that bolster. You might even push it far away so that the sole of the foot rests on the bolster, kind of like the leg and foot are standing. Yes, like that, Chaya. So the heel and the arch and the base joints all feel that curve. And in that way, they gain an understanding of the ground. By pressing the heels to the ground, you get some activity in the leg that can bring space to the chest. So I see, Vidya, your body likes back bends. Not happy about forward bends too much, but it likes back bends. Well, that's a body type. The other body type is the opposite. Stiff at back bends, better at forward bends. And the most common of all is stiff in back bends, stiff in forward bends. Just stiff. Now, if you're having a good time, then adjust your pose so you can exert some force against the floor, against the wall, instead of relying on the chair. Can you push up a bit, at least bracing, Vidya, if you bring your chair closer to the wall so you can bend your elbows, and then you bend your knees and put your feet on the floor. You start pushing on the floor with the feet, on the ground with the feet, to raise the hips. Brace with the hands on the wall or the floor, whatever is easy, to keep that upper body stable. And raise the hips. Gaining knowledge of the floor, of the, ground. And now come out, please, everybody. Bend your knees, make sure your hips are seated on the chair, and then lift your chest to come up. So what resting on the chair is like raising the ground, right? And making the ground help you make your shape. And then there's making the shape yourself, much more muscular activity. But for most of us, we lose our sense of the ground, and that makes trouble. When we push off the floor, we're like forgetting the ground, when in fact what you need to do is really perfect your relationship with the ground. So when you come off that chair, it's like it's like your body, there is no shock as you transfer from the chair to your own support. It's because you have fully taken on the job of supporting your weight. And it's not that difficult when you're mostly in the pose. It can be done just raising the hips. If you see this, my elbows are bent. I'm using the chair by stages to get better at the ground. So in time, you will push off the chair. Try. Get your hips on the chair, shoulder blades on the chair. Tuck those shoulder blades, Vidya. Tuck those shoulder blades. See, I see the problem, Vidya. This is difficult for you to work with the chair with a back on it. Come up, Vidya, come up, come up. I have perhaps an idea. No, here's the chair with the chair back here, okay? You go through that chair back this way. Do you think this is possible? Might be super difficult. If it is impossible, I should, if your head, now how do your arms get through? That's the issue. The arms need to try to get through before the head. That's the hard part. I'm not sure it's a good time to try this today, Vidya. Okay, there's just too much chair back there. So we have to see about a different chair. It makes this kind of work, this kind of support difficult. So I'm sorry for that. there are other kinds of chairs that can work, where you don't have to take a sledgehammer to the back of that one. Please come out, Pratima. And everybody else, come out of your chair. If you are very stiff, or if that ankle foot is an issue, making it very difficult to sit on a bolster, cross-legged for a twisting pose, then you will do the same thing, but seated in a chair. Now, a bolster is not required, you know, you could sit lower. A bolster is just a suggestion. My personal preference is one, maybe two blankets, depending on the day. So be comfortable in those feet, or else the ground, again, will be elusive, right? In your body, there will be something that needs to release that can't if you are not comfortable. Likewise, because if there isn't a ground, lift is not possible. The way the earth works, the way this prakriti, this earthly realm works, is the ground comes first. Your sense of the ground comes first. Then you stretch up. Then you can do other things, like turn to your right side. Revolving to your right requires that you understand the ground first. Come out, face forward, stay with the ground, and away from the ground, stretch up. And from that, turn left. That left hand behind you can catch the blanket, the floor, a brick, a chair, can catch whatever connects you to the ground and allows you to be buoyant in the chest and to turn. Come back around, stretch your legs, change the crossing. So the weirdest thing to think about in twists, when you first start doing them, yes, you got to go down, you have to come up, you have to get very good at that, and it makes the turning easier. Wherever you lose that space, you lose the ability to rotate. But what also is true and strange about this twisting pose is that you also expand. Spread yourself out across the earth. and out you come. So when I say this pose is expansive, right? I say it a lot. The pose should not feel like you're twizzling yourself up and getting wrapped tighter and tighter, like a wringing out washcloth. You want to make this pose feel as if you are spreading, like you're in a planetary centrifuge and you are spreading out in your rotation. First, you need to get the ground vertical, straight down to the pull of gravity. Secondly, you need that buoyancy, the air, the opposite direction. And you need it evenly up and down the length of the spine. Wherever you intend to revolve must first be expanded with respect to the earth and sky. And then come out. And stretch your legs. And then you need probably to take Setupanta Sarvankasana. The legs should be supported so they can straighten. Now, you can do this with a bolster and, say, bricks underneath those feet, or even two bolsters, one under the spine and one under the feet. So it's kind of your call. Now, another thing that really helps are my straps. I hid them. You put a strap around your feet, about hip width. Let's just say not wider than the bolster your feet will rest on. They can go all the way as wide as that bolster. They could. That's kind of up to you. And then you lie back, coil your chest open, and support those feet. See how the strap is on my actual feet, not ankles. That helps keep my feet upright instead of dropping out. Now, the thing, most people, when they're new in this pose, and new means, I don't know, first 5 years, 10 years, is people don't ground the shoulders. The head is grounded, but the shoulders aren't. And I've been spending the whole class discussing the ground. So the chest has to coil down, so the shoulders don't just make contact with the floor, but they actually engage with it. Such that you could press your upper arm bones down and they would press the floor. And when they press, the response of the chest is to expand. If you don't have a good enough grounding, your effort to ground won't cause expansion. It'll cause some kind of other tension. Now, how does your body feel about this ground? Can it spread along the ground? Meaning, can it lengthen back body, side body, front body along this bolster, which runs parallel to the ground? Can the legs stretch out and help the lengthening of the spine and trunk along the ground? Can the throat lengthen? You've heard me discussing the various compartments of this trunk: pelvis, abdomen, chest, throat, head, spine. Each one has its own sense of the ground. And of the ability to expand along that ground. Now, in the 2 minutes that remain, can you come out and lie flat on this ground? And if lying flat is difficult or painful, give support where it's needed so that you can truly surrender to that ground. Blankets, bolsters. Some people go so far as to take blankets, bolsters, and put them across the top thigh. The nervous system also responds to gravity in its own way. It responds to gravity because it is part of the same world. The particles are just a lot smaller, so they get felt differently, but they do respond to gravity. So let your thoughts slow down. Let the activity of the brain settle toward the ground. Now, it's time to come back. Bend your elbows, bend your knees. Roll to your side. Come up, sitting. If I don't see you before the new year, Happy New Year. If I do get another chance to say Happy New Year, Namaskar.